Hi everybody, welcome to the Manifold channel. Today we're going to take a look at the spectacular new previews capability that came out in a recent build. And we're looking at Manifold System Release 9. You can do all this in the free Manifold viewer as well, which is pretty amazing. What we're looking at here is a map that shows terrain elevation, and here's the layer that does so-called Portland SRTM. Terrain elevation in the region of Portland, Oregon. And we have a Bing Street Maps background layer, so Portland's right here. And here we see in another layer called Summits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots for the 5 mountains that are that are in view of many parts of the city of Portland. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to find out what the visibility is of these different mountains from Portland. And before we do that, we're going to do a quick tour of how to launch transforms. We'll click on the transform pane right here. We can undock that if we like. We'll leave it the way it is. Here we'll choose the layer we want to work with. We want to work with the Portland SRTM layer. And we'll choose the tile field, which is the terrain elevation data. And let's double click on contour to do contours. I'll click full range of contours. And we'll do contours every 200 meters. Click preview. And off we go, and it generates contours, and it generates them that quickly. And this would take ARC, I think, about 10-15 minutes to do all that. I don't particularly like the area contours. I like contour lines. So let's generate contour lines. And this is so quick that we can do the preview, and it does it instantly like that. Now, what's different about the preview now as opposed to prior previews in Manifold products is that this preview is fully computed on the entire data set. So it's 100% accurate. It's a very accurate preview. And it's also dynamic live preview, and it'll stay in place even as you do other things. For example, I can switch back here into the project pane, and let's say I don't want to look at the Portland SRTM layer. I don't want to look at the streets layer. I want to see a satellite layer. So the way I do that is I can right-click here in the project pane, click Create, New Data Source, and let's use Bing Map Satellite since it's one of the favorites. I'll drag and drop that satellite image into the map. And just like that, I've created a satellite image, which I've added. And you can see here the contours in the crater of Mount St. Helens. And if we want to play with this a bit, we can right-click here on the contour display, because this showing us that we're seeing a preview. And I'll choose right, which will restrict it to the right-hand part of the screen. And I can drag and drop just how far that preview shows, so I can see the various preview effects to the full extent that I want them to see. And if I like at any time, I can go full. Do that. I can click it to turn them off, click it to turn it on. So there's all those kinds of cool effects, and they all stay working even as we turn other layers off and on. So there you can see the streets layer, and here we can turn on the SRTM layer. That's the terrain elevation data that's hill shaded by Manifold. This is about working with about I think 6 tiles from the space shuttle radar topography mission. Okay, now let's go back and let's zoom out here a bit, and let's see. Let's play a fun game, which people like to do in Portland, where they like to see how many mountains are visible from different real estate parcels. So if you're buying real estate somewhere in Portland, let's say you go down here, and we'll zoom into where Portland City is. Let's actually zoom even closer to, like around here. And you can see here is the northwest Portland, and down here it's Lake Oswego and Westland and all those places. And out here is Beaverton and Hillsborough, which is where the Intel plant is. And what we'll do is we will use the viewshed tool in the transform pane. So I'm going to click up here to choose a different tool, a different set of templates. I'll click on viewsheds. We're still working with the Portland SRTM and the tiles. And notice that I can do this even though the Portland SRTM layer is not turned on, and even though it's not all visible. And what I want to do is we want to see the visible area from all summits. And for the geometry, we're going to use the height that's there. And that looks pretty cool. So let's click Preview. And what Manifold's going to do is it's now going to compute visibility zones, the visibility from all those mountains. And where you see blue areas here, for example, right down here in Westland, anywhere in here, some places located there can see all 5 summits, all 5 of those mountains, everywhere from Mount Jefferson all the way down to the south to Mount Rainier. Up near Seattle, which is pretty amazing. Of course, you need a clear day to see them, but it's still pretty cool that you can get that. And if you look down here, you can see there's a variety of. Let's turn on the satellite layer. You can see down to the individual house level. And for example, here you can see there's a row of houses which border the park, and all these houses here can see all 5 mountains. This guy can't see all 5 mountains, but can he see some of them? So if we want to decide, let's right-click on the Summits tab, and let's choose Open Table. And here are my summits, all the different names of the where the dots are located. And let's choose, let's say Mount Adams, Mount Hood, and Mount Jefferson. Can this guy see those three mountains? And here what I will do is I will view refresh, because I've just changed the selection in a different pane, so I want to make sure I'm refreshed. And let's see, we want to see the visible area from all summits and view from selection only. So let's click that, choose preview. And what it's now going to do, it's going to compute and give us a visibility zone. Aha, so that house now can see those three mountains, even though a lot of the data sets were not in view. Now, prior releases of Manifold, even in release 9, would do a quick computation using the data sets that were in view, because that was one way of working with a very large data and being able to provide basically an instant preview. Manifold has now gotten so fast, and Release 9 has gotten even faster with things like previews, that it can now do the computation on the full area, even those things which are not in view. So, for example, here we see selected Mount Adams, Mount Hood, and Mount Jefferson, and these are the regions that can that get a view of all three of those summits. And because it can compute on the entire data set, including stuff which isn't even in view, like those dots for Mount Hood and the other mountains, it can work dynamically and create all those effects that you want to see. What we've seen here is how the new previews capability allows for very dynamic workflow, and it allows us to go to zoom in and to work with whatever layer we want to work with, and we're never going to lose any of these layers, because these layers are always available to us. They're highly persistent, which means you can do, and we're back here where we were looking at before, they're highly persistent, so you can alter the layers that you want to see. You can drag and drop different layers into them. You can change parameters on the fly. What you have in the transform pane doesn't go away when you choose select, style, or project, or any of the other panes. You can undock it and work with the transform pane, and it still keeps working. And you can rearrange all the layers in your map. And in fact, you can even go do other things. Like, for example, I could add a new dot here to the table if I wanted to add yet another summit. And that wouldn't change anything about the preview until I told it to change, or until I told it to hide and to go away. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at dynamic previews. There's just an amazing amount of stuff, because each one of these different previews for all the different commands, and it all works for images, and it all works for vectors and raster layers. I mean, all that stuff. It's just endless. So dive into it. Use a free viewer if you like. Download it for free, and it's pretty darn endless. And I think you'll enjoy it a lot. Thanks for watching, and goodbye from Manifold Land. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.